Hello, welcome to this chainmail tutorial. My name is John from Chariot Chains, and today I will be showing you how to make this flat box weave bracelet. Here I have a finished bracelet in violet and bright aluminum, and we're going to make these in two-tone, which will have a color of your choice, and the bright aluminum, so that way there the tutorial will be easier to follow. So we'll take a look at our kit components. In your kit you'll find your larger colored rings, your bright aluminum rings, which are smaller rings. A little bit of a glare there, but your clasp attachment. You'll also have a twist tie, which we'll use at the beginning of the weave as a handle to stabilize where we start our weave off. And also included is a paper clip, which comes in kind of handy. What I like to do is straighten out one end of the clip like so, and this way here we can use it as a tool to sort or organize our rings as we go, and you'll see how I use that as we're putting this weave together. You'll also have a set of pliers. One set is a flat nose pliers, and the other set is a chisel nose pliers. You can see that okay. And we'll get started. Okay, so we'll start with our colored rings. And a little note about closing rings. When I handle my rings, I like to use the flat nose pliers with my dominant hand. I'm right-handed, and then my chisel nose pliers with my left hand. So what we're going to do to start the weave is to close two of our colored rings. And when you close your ring, you want to maneuver it in a twisting motion and try to get your closure to line up so you have a nice smooth finish. And you may even hear a clicking sound as the ends come together. So we'll close up two of our colored rings like so. And then we'll take those two rings and we're going to put them on our twist tie. And this is where the twist tie comes in to act as a handle to start our weave with. So it'll look like this. Our next step, we'll be adding two of our smaller bright aluminum rings. And what we're going to do is we'll open a couple of rings to start off with here. When you open your ring, what I like to do is with my dominant hand I turn towards me, and my other hand I turn away from me. And you only want to open the ring far enough, which is about a little more than 1/8 of an inch, I guess, so the ring can wrap around the other rings in the weave. So we'll take our bright aluminum rings and we're going to put them through the two colored rings that we started off with, like so. Close that. And put our second bright aluminum ring through our two colored rings as well. And at this point we have what looks like this. Set that down. Our next step is we'll take a couple of colored rings and we can pre-open them. Like so. And then these two rings will go through the two bright aluminum rings that we just put in. Close those. So now at this point we have a 2, 2, and 2 simple chain, like so. So now what we want to do is pick up the chain that we currently have, and we're going to fold or flip those last two rings we put in, like so, and then fold them back against the first two rings in the weave. And then we'll open up the two bright aluminum rings like so, and you can use your paper clip here to pull the two large rings forward. And what you get is like the bright aluminum rings will form like a V shape on the outside of the weave. Set that down. So this is where your work should be at. Now our next step, we're going to add two more of the smaller bright aluminum rings. And we're going to put those through the colored rings, the two color rings that we just brought forward in the weave. This is where you should be at after adding those two rings. Now our next step is we're going to put the two 2 more colored rings through the bright aluminum rings to continue our chain. Make sure our closure is right. We have this. And we'll do that. We'll flip those 2 rings over and fold them back against the 2 previous colored rings in the weave, and we'll push the 2 bright aluminum rings open and bring those rings forward. And then here you can see, let me get this, here you can see our pattern starting to develop. I'll go through that one more time. So 2 bright aluminum rings through our colored rings. Like so. There. And we'll add 2 more of our colored rings through the bright aluminum rings. And again, we'll fold those 2 colored rings over. And separate these 2 bright aluminum rings. This can be a little fiddly, but we'll get it. There. You can see more of the pattern developing. So as you can see, you just continue the same pattern through until you get to the length of the bracelet that you want. And then we'll move on to showing you how to add the clasp attachment. So what I'm going to do with this small sample piece is I'm going to remove my twist tie from the end of the weave, like so. In your clasp attachment set, you'll see you'll have 2 rings plus your lobster clasp. Take one of those rings, open it, and on one end of your weave, you add the one ring there, and before closing this ring, you can add your lobster clasp, and then go ahead and close. And then at the other end of your weave, you can add your other ring. Like so. And close. And that would be how you would add your clasp attachment. So you can see here on this full length one, and that is your flat box weave.